Il y a 34 ans, la Syrie et l'Égypte lançaient une attaque surprise contre Israël quand l'objectif était de tenter de récupérer des territoires arabes conquis par l'État hébreu pendant la guerre de 6 jours en 1967. En juillet 2006, la mort de 8 soldats et l'enlèvement de 2 réservistes par le Hezbollah plongeaient Israël au cœur d'une guerre contre le mouvement terroriste chiite. En 1973 comme en 2006, les services israéliens du renseignement ont échoué dans leur mission d'analyse de la situation, ignorant parfois des informations vitales. Dans le cas de la guerre de 1973, le politique comme le militaire faisaient encore preuve d'euphorie suite à la victoire éclair de 67. Et les manœuvres militaires gigantesques menées à la frontière par l'Égypte ne furent pas comprises comme une préparation à la guerre. L'ancien officier du renseignement militaire, le général de brigade Efi Lapid, est revenu pour Info Live TV sur ces dysfonctionnements.
When we speak about the Yom Kippour War, which occurred 34 years ago, we see the map of the Mediterranean and Arab map, which doesn't include Israel like the Arabs do. It was 1973, 6 years after the 67 war, 6 years of euphoria of the Israeli society and the Israeli establishment, including the military system. And the feeling was that at least the leader of Egypt, late Anwar Sadat, was a weak leader. And a weak leader, according to the assessment that was at that time, will not initiate any war against Israel, especially after he threatened Israel in 1971, 1972, and nothing occurred. So we thought that a war is not on the agenda of the Arabs, especially not of the Egyptians at that time. In Israel, the Prime Minister was Golda Meir, Minister of Defense, very experienced Minister Moshe Dayan, once again after being the Minister of Defense in the Six-Day War, and Chief of Staff, relatively new, David Elazar, Dado, and the Head of Intelligence, Major General Eli Zeira. At 2 o'clock in Yom Kippur, war started in the 2 arenas, in the Egyptian front and the Syrian front. It was a very, very bitter war with more than almost 3,000 killed soldiers. This was a war between Israel and the 2 armies of Egypt and Syria. This was totally different from the war in a year ago with the terrorist groups who were not commands like the Egyptians and the Syrians. So of course the difference is also not only from verbal point of view, but it meant that Israel could use all weapons in ground forces, navy and air force and anti-aircraft missiles in order to achieve the goals of the war. As I said, it was a very bitter war, but it ended with a relatively success of the Israeli defense forces. While we were 100 kilometers from the capital of Egypt, from Cairo, and we were also in the Golan Heights near the capital of Damascus, the capital of Syria.
As you said, the intelligence at that time pointed to the probability of a war breaking out as being fairly low, even though there were large sort of exercises being conducted by Egypt and the Syrians. Now, if I'm not mistaken, also Jordan's King Hussein also alerted Israel to the fact that they are going to launch a war, and his warnings weren't taken seriously also by the intelligence community. How can you explain that?
It's a tragic situation to see so many officers of the Israeli intelligence sitting together day after day. It was not one day of a meeting and all the information was discussed. It was a daily discussion and a daily analysis of the information, including the information that came from King Hussein. And we think that the only definition we can say it's a mental block, because when we check now the information, a reasonable person, even not experienced and not an expert, should immediately say that these indicators show that a war is going to
War is
break.
brewing.
Yeah.
Depuis le retrait du Liban en mai 2000, le Hezbollah n'a eu cesse de se préparer en vue de son objectif principal, la guerre avec Israël, en amassant des quantités d'armes, en renforçant ses défenses, en construisant un réseau de bunkers et en acquérant des milliers de missiles de courte et longue portée. Des années de préparation sous le nez d'Israël, prouvant l'échec des services du renseignement. Lorsque la guerre a éclaté, les troupes israéliennes ont reçu des informations cartographiques erronées, rendant le combat sur le terrain particulièrement compliqué. Et si la guerre de 73 ne ressemble pas à celle de 2006, force est de constater que dans les deux cas, le renseignement a montré des dysfonctionnements graves, aux conséquences que nous connaissons.
The role of intelligence in preparing a military force for war is very important, and especially in Israel, while war is also a current effort of the Israeli military system, and we invest a lot of resources in the intelligence in order to be able, first of all, to give the early warning for war or also for peace, and also the daily early warning for the different terrorist activities that are carried out by our neighbors. A year ago, in July 2006, one Israeli soldier was kidnapped in Gaza Strip, and a few days after, another two reserve soldiers were kidnapped by Hezbollah in the Lebanese arena. Israel, with a new leadership, a new prime minister, a new minister of defense, relatively new chief of staff, decided that we cannot give up. We cannot see again a situation like was in September year 2000, when 3 Israeli soldiers were kidnapped and there was no military response from Israel. So within 24 hours, Israel initiated a war. The situation that we faced after 34 days of bombing and firing rockets by Hezbollah was totally different from the preparation that we thought should be in such a case. This was a war which caused big troubles and big damage to the Israeli home front. And it was more a war in the home front than in the military front of South Lebanon. So this is one of the big changes. I'll relate afterwards to Yom Kippur War. The role of intelligence in such a case, like the Second Lebanon War, was first on the strategic level, saying what are the intentions of the leaders of Hezbollah, and second, on the tactical level, to know where are the different sites where the rockets are fired from. And since we speak about capability of intelligence of seconds or sometimes only minutes, this is a very sensitive and problematic situation. We were prepared with the basic picture of the infrastructure of Hezbollah in South Lebanon. We were not able to give the pinpoint of the sites of the rockets real time. I think that to conclude the aspect of intelligence in the Second Lebanon War, we can say that the intelligence gave quite a good picture of the strategic level of Hezbollah, knowing where are the commands, where are the sites of the strategic rockets, and they were bombed immediately within 2 days.
You're talking about the long-range
The long-range,
yes.
the long-range rockets. We were not effective enough to know in real time, where are the sites of the rockets that fired many times a day toward the north of Israel, while 1 million Israeli citizens were in shelters.
Au sortir des deux guerres, une commission a été mise sur pied dans le but d'examiner la nature des dysfonctionnements révélés au niveau du renseignement, mais également au niveau de la prise de décision au plan politique et militaire.
We have to remember that when we fight against regular military systems like Egypt and Syria, it meant that all is open. We could bomb, we could fire, we could target every target, every mission that we thought. That was not the situation in Lebanon. In Lebanon, we were limited by our decisions, civil and military, political and military considerations, that we don't want to destroy Lebanon.
La commission à Granat en charge des dysfonctionnements de 1973, dans son rapport intermédiaire, a conclu que l'État hébreu et Tsahal ont sous-estimé la nécessité de se préparer à la guerre, mais également que le passé militaire de Moshe Dayan, alors ministre de la Défense, ne pouvait être pris en compte et qu'il devait être jugé en tant que civil et non en tant que soldat. En revanche, la responsabilité de Dayan ne se trouvait pas au niveau personnel, mais bel et bien au niveau politique, ministériel et militaire. Dayan présenta alors sa démission au Premier ministre Golda Meir, qui la rejeta. La commission à Granat pointa un doigt accusateur en direction du militaire et exigea la démission du chef d'état-major d'alors, David Elazar. De son côté, Golda Meir endossa l'entière responsabilité de l'échec de 1973 et quitta ses fonctions le 11 avril 1974. Peu après la seconde guerre du Liban, en 2006, la commission d'enquête Vinograd a été chargée d'étudier les dysfonctionnements révélés par la guerre. Dans son rapport intermédiaire, les membres de la commission ont conclu que la décision politique et militaire de répondre massivement à l'agression du Hezbollah ne se fondait pas sur une connaissance profonde de la situation au Liban. Le gouvernement comme l'armée sont visés directement. Le Premier ministre Ehud Olmert, le ministre de la Défense d'alors Amir Peretz et le chef d'état-major Dan Khaloutz sont personnellement mis en cause par le rapport.
The challenge is to bring the intelligence to the troops in order to be effective. Intelligence is not a factor that should be filed in offices. We have, of course, to use it. And what was in these two wars that maybe the basic early warning was not proper enough, but the the current intelligence in the Yom Kippur War was quite good, and the limitations of the intelligence in the Second Lebanon War, as I said before, the limitations were that we didn't could observe any post or any site where rockets or missiles were fired, because it was a change of minutes to redeploy the units. So there is a big difference between the Hezbollah and the military systems of Egypt and Syria.
Depuis sa création, l'État d'Israël se trouve sous une menace constante. Des dizaines de milliers de soldats ont combattu pour sa défense, parfois au prix de leur vie. Et leur sacrifice ne doit pas être oublié, leur histoire se doit d'être racontée. De même, l'opinion publique israélienne attend davantage du politique comme du militaire, en espérant que les menaces futures ne seront plus sous-estimées et que les leçons du passé serviront dans le futur à ne pas répéter les erreurs fatales qui ont pour conséquence directe la mort de soldats et de civils et la perte de la force de dissuasion de l'État d'Israël.